Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NBA Top Shot Weekly Tip-Off Show, brought to you by OTMNFT.com. My name is TJ Lasig. I'm one of the co-founders here at Own the Moment. We're excited for our first ever tip-off show, where we will be updating you on everything you need to know, all the news and information for this week in NBA Top Shot. First, as always, I'm joined by my co-founder, Mr. Justin Herzig. Justin, how are we doing tonight?
It's going fantastic. It has been an exciting week. I've got some Dwight Howards. I got some Serge Ibaka. Does anybody want some? Let's go!
Oh, love it, love it. Always
you can't convince me. You can't convince me that you weren't in on it. Like that you got some secret insider information, because there's no way that you thought Serge Ibaka was from a cold country. The Congo is not a cold country.
So before it was cold country, it was just foreign. That was before the cold country theory came out. And
I'll allow it.
Yeah. And before that, it was just, let me just buy all the floor of the S2 15,000s and hope that
worked out. We'll talk about it. I have thoughts.
To be honest, I'm glad I didn't get the Halliburton #1 today, because Top Shot might have just broke.
Yeah, so I'm sorry. I didn't want the good stuff, just in case.
Hey, if you fire out all the theories, you're bound to hit one eventually. So when you have like 60 in every moment, like Justin does, you're packing bags pretty heavily. So, alrighty. Well, as everyone can see, we have a very special guest this evening. Someone who is quite popular, quite well known here in the Top Shot streets. This is not always where he parks his car, but he is parking his car here for the evening with us, straight from the Plunge in. Mr. Plungefather, how are we doing tonight, my friend?
Fantastic. I'm so happy to be here, guys. It's been a long time coming, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when I first got on Top Shot, one of the first YouTube videos I watched was one of your videos. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but I remember laughing my ass off pretty much the whole time, so it was great.
Yeah, that was probably, I wasn't doing any like my own YouTube content. It was probably like first mint. What was it?
Yeah, 100%. It was may have been the first mint first Friday. And it was you were probably still in the plunging, but there was also like some pipes in the background, and you were taking your computer to share the computer.
That's right.
To be able to see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was OG.
That was way back. That was back when the production value was much lower than it is now. And even now, I don't know how it looks good to me because I can see it on StreamYard, but like my internet has been trash. And this is the first stream back since I was in New Orleans for work this past week. So all my stuff last week, I had hotel internet. So I'm hopeful that, crossing my fingers, that my 12 megabit download and my 1.5 megabit upload is keeping up with the Joneses this week.
My only concern is that the cops are going to see the moonshine factory that you have going on behind you, and they're just going to storm in the middle.
So, I mean, that's a trampoline, like legitimately like a regular ass trampoline. I just haven't broken it down and taken it outside yet. I live in Wisconsin. I think you guys are in Chicago, right? Or one of you?
Florida and Philly.
Why did I think Chicago? Were one of you in Chicago recently? Anyway, Florida and Philly.
Most Chicago. I'm trying to think
So not Chicago. Anyway, it started to get nice again. So now I have to take. Do you know how? I can't cuss on the stream. Do you know how crappy it is to try and take apart a trampoline and put it back together? It's awful. It's almost as bad as trying to buy a Topps wax pack. It's bad.
So it gets awful. Woody? It gets you.
I mean, it could. It's awful. Did you guys do that today, by the way? Did you get a wooden coin?
I spent around 5 minutes trying to log through, and then I realized that I don't know, I get the email when it with wax, and I was
You know what? I'm not gonna disparage anything. Don't knock it till you tried it. I tried it. I can knock it now. It was very interesting. I set up a wax account like last week to try. So for anybody that doesn't know, I mean, let's key everybody in here. Yeah. So Topps has released an NFT project. I don't even know what it's called, to be honest. Series 1 something, right? It's basically like a digital asset of their trading cards. And they today, I think unannounced, basically allowed people to get a promo pack if you sign up with a Wax wallet and try and check out with a Wax wallet. And I had never done anything on a wallet other than a Dapper wallet. I mean, I think I have a MetaMask that I set up just in case for some of the Zed Run stuff that we haven't really got into yet. But holy cow, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's archaic. It looks like a game, like a boot menu. Like the Wax wallet looks like a game boot menu for a Halo 2, from 2007, right? It's just, like, what are these buttons? Like, why? Like, I don't know what they do. But anyway, it took me like 5 minutes to 10 minutes, like clicked around a bunch of times. I shifted from one computer to another computer to my phone. I like finally got it open on the Mac because that's where my MetaMask was. I don't even know. Anyway, long story short, I ended up with a wooden coin. I'm trying to collect all of them now. There's like 32,000 of them. So like, I don't know. I'm trying to get them all.
Yeah.
So,
and I mean, to be fair, whether or not the product is great, it was a genius marketing scheme by them, because really they did nothing, and they were just they've got your email, they've gotten you on the platform. So like, maybe they know something we don't, but like, I don't know. I agree. Like, it was not a great experience for.
Makes you appreciate Top Shot a little bit for all the Top Shot complainers out there. Like, it really makes you appreciate the scale of what they've been able to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. Like, not everybody's going to get it right the first time around, right? You need to iterate. And I'm sure that like there are things that when Top Shot first came about, like it just wasn't that pretty, or it was kind of difficult. And the things that that the early beta testers have already kind of proven out, and a lot of the like struggles that they were going through in January, February, and March, like getting pack drops right, like it sucked. Like, it was awful. The moments themselves and the actual assets, the things that you ended up with at the end of it, were really cool. And that's the stickiness for me, like, is that these are just like inherently cool. They're trying to make them cooler. They're trying to create some different ways for them to be utilized. Showcase thing, don't get me started on that, but like, they're trying to figure out how to make
it's on the list. It's on the list.
It's on the list. Yes, it is. Anyway, continue. I feel like I derailed us. Go ahead.
And I'll jump in here. I mean, Derek made a good point here and this is how I don't know if I have as extreme in his opinion here, where Derek mentioned that, hey, Top Swag has proven to be nothing more than a money grab. You can see the lack of effort they were putting into this. I do feel that it did feel very gimmicky, because they knew what they were doing. They knew that they were creating the allure of getting some form of a pack and some baseball cards. And in exchange, you ended up getting virtually nothing. You get this coin, and most of them were like, they knew what they were doing. They knew the experience they were creating. So and maybe
it's
it is just
when you say it out loud, it just sounds so ridiculous. It's just like, and you get this coin. Like,
and you get the coin. I mean, it's okay that it's not like the coolest thing in the world. Not every art project is cool, but like, when you have things to compare them to, I also have to recognize too, like I had this moment today. I was like, you know what I really wish I could do? I really wish that I could
own the moment. Oh, sorry.
I could own the moment. Yes. I wish I could do that. But I also wish that, and I think they did this around like political events with like timeline stuff. You know how you get like into an echo chamber on social media where it's like all of the stuff that's you've made choices, you've liked things, and the algorithms are such that they put the stuff in front of you that like give you dopamine hits, and they take away the stuff that like pisses you off or gets you off of the platform, right? So I would love to be able to just like click or type in Tops whatever and like show this to me, like show me a Twitter timeline of someone that's not like way deep in Top Shot. Like, show me a Twitter timeline of someone that's like in the collectible space, that's a baseball card collector that follows all these other people, not all of these, Top Shot people, to Facebook. See like what's right? Like, what's the vibe right now? Like, are all the people that aren't in Top Shot, are they like, oh my God, this is awesome? Or are the people that like, are we kind of jaded and blind? I think it's stupid, right? But like, that's because I have a very specific lens through which I'm viewing this. And not, as we know, there's not a ton of people on Top Shot in the grand scheme of things, right? Like, not every baseball card collector or anybody that is like the addressable market for Topps collectibles are like in our space. So it's sort of hard for me to do that. And like, I sort of have to keep check myself. But at the same time, I'm like, oh man, this could be dope. And it's like, not quite.
The Venn diagram of people who were in that drop and know about Top Shot is a circle. Like,
same, but different. Yes and no. Yes and no.
That's interesting.
We'll see. Well, anyway, continue on.
In future,
TJ,
you may get those baseball collectors in the future. Yeah.
Hey, you tried to bring us back to reality twice. Justin's the one who derailed it, so you can blame him. You don't have to blame yourself. But I do want to set the stage a bit here, because this is the first time that we're doing this show, and we're trying to come out with a little bit of a schedule here. Well, we're not trying to. We are going to come out with a set schedule here. So we tweeted this out earlier today. For those of you that didn't see it, we'll be doing this show every Monday at 8:30 Eastern. calling it the NBA Top Shot Weekly Tip-Off. Just going to go through anything that happened over the weekend, make sure that everyone has all the info that they need heading into the week, any of the pack drops coming up, any of the challenges, et cetera, et cetera. Try to get into some standard topics that we cover, but also make sure we're hitting whatever's hot at the moment. On Wednesday, Justin and I will be doing a bit more of a strategy show where we get a little bit more into the analysis that we have going on over at OTM. Occasionally, we'll have a guest on with us there as well. And then we're going to be doing a new Friday podcast that I'm just going to record solo, 30 minutes or less, just to kind of close the book on the week. If there's anything that people need to know, if people didn't get a chance to listen to the long form shows, you can get everything you need in a quick 20, 30-minute podcast from myself. And then we have some written content. So Bach in the Discord writing a weekly article where he's summarizing the NBA from the lens of Top Shot and from the lens of the OTM player rankings, and then refreshing those rankings every week on Sunday, along with an Ask Me Anything in the Discord. So that's what we have going on here at In the Moment.
I applaud you guys for having a schedule. That's a big brain thing to do. It holds you accountable to actually doing the stuff though, which very much not my vibe right now. So I appreciate that you guys are doing this in a professional manner.
There is definitely a level of responsibility here and negotiating with the wife and all of that. But no, and to be honest, there's a lot of great content creators in this, in the ecosystem, in the industry.
Speak for yourself.
You actually were tweeting about this last week, I believe, but I remember you were talking about how it'd be better if there was just a more communication around when shows are, because people do want to be able to watch multiple shows and stuff. And I think so we've seen Club Top Shot, fantastic. One of my favorite things to actually watch from entertainment. They're going to stick to Tuesdays. They're going to stick with that schedule. And I think that's going to help a lot too. We've got Monday, Wednesday. There's other times, can go after us, before us. You can go against us if you want, but it just helps to help for, so people can see, and especially ones who are kind of newer to the ecosystem and trying to build a following. Hey, now what when other people are going. I think it gives a better opportunity for kind of the community to be able to watch multiple shows and not have the overlap. And because I know I've spent too much time just watching on repeat for other shows that are going on at these times, and I'd love to be able to go in the chat and engage and watch live.
Yeah, I think we're gonna ship. We had the Tuesday corner, and then I don't know. Club Top Shot got off. I think it was probably they didn't really want to do Sunday nights. I think they were doing them on Sunday nights, which is terrible time slot. So they shifted to Tuesday, and we just, like you said, the Venn diagram of people that watch the stuff that I put out and the stuff that they put out is maybe not a circle, because Overset's got some more not Top Shot things going on, but it was a pretty heavy overlap. So I think we're going to do Thursdays, which works for all the other guys. So you know what? That's cool with me. I don't really mind. I like popping in and out of the Twitch stuff. And, I've been really enjoying that as well for just getting on and stream of consciousness stuff. I'm terrible at editing. I found this out both from a video and audio production perspective, but also from a writing perspective. I like writing, but I'm just so bad at editing. It just takes me so much time. I just rather go off the cuff and do the thing. And it's been an awesome opportunity as well. I think last week we had a couple streams where it was just we did pack cracking for the Holo icon on, twitch.tv /Plungefather. And we brought in some crazy cool people that I see Ed Choi in the chat over here. He brought us home with the last pack crack, and it was a total riot. So it's a lot of fun to do some of this different stuff. And, I'm sort of all over the place. I don't really have much of an agenda other than just talk about cool stuff and hang out with people that I enjoy talking to. So that's sort of my vibe right now.
I love that. And yeah, you mentioned Ed Choi. I know Schiller was in the chat too earlier.
Schiller's the man,
huge stream that he put on just back to back was fantastic.
That was so funny.
Example of great content. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. Brian Vivero. Can we get a show at the same time as Jerry? I actually want a show that is the Top Shot version of Jerry. I don't want to care if it's the same time or whatever. I just want that content for, Top Shot. Let's see who can make that happen. Who's the most antagonist in the industry that can kind of bring them together and just kind of poke. I think that'd be fun, but that needs to be Sunday morning or something.
Yeah. We could put Economist versus Darren Ravel this week. Just a total rock fight.
Darren Ravel versus Logic.
Anyone.
Versus anyone, yeah. He'll go out with anyone. sight to see. You can pretty much guarantee it.
Darren versus Roham was already happening on Twitter. So
there you go. That's one way to do it. Yeah, Roham's he's spicy. I like Roham. He's spicy.
Keeps it real.
Let's spice it up in the Twitter streets.
Yes, he is.
Alrighty. All right. So we got a little thing called the rundown now. We're in the bottom right corner here, where you can see all the main topics that we're going to cover, or that we're going to try to cover, even though we're 17 minutes in and haven't covered the first one. But you know what? Hey, when the Plungefather's on, you got to go where the conversation takes you.
There were notes. It was news. It may not have been on your news radar, but it was news.
It was news, no doubt. Well, it actually, I'm glad we touched on all that stuff, because it was definitely something that came up today. But so let's go ahead. We'll just briefly summarize some of the things that we feel you should know is going on in the Top Shot world. So we had a couple 35K circulating count moments that have started to be going to limited edition. So First Mint tweeted out the list. I'm sure they'll continue to do so. They're always doing a great job of providing that information. So I'm sure everyone's following them. Keep an eye out. So you can see the list there. Terrence Davis through Victor Oladipo, and we believe that there are more to come. And these are all people that were involved in a trade. So they have moved teams, and they are now retiring those moments. It still means that the ones that have been minted will continue to be distributed. They will just not get to a 50K or 100K at any point.
And we will likely have some more upcoming, as we have on the screen there. They did say about 10% to begin with. Top of my head, I don't know how many are in the current base set, but I know that is not 10%. But maybe
it's close-ish. It was like 8% of players that have gone. I expect more to come in.
Yeah, so maybe that was just their estimate. It was just within a 2% off, and maybe when they make the next proclamation, because some people do believe that 35K will be their end, just like all those 15K ends. I hope. Were
you guys here when they went so initially the Series 2 base stuff, it was like 4,000, and then there were 12,000s, and all of them were 12,000, and they were all 12,000 CC, and then they went a couple of them, or excuse me, just the Top Shot first moment stayed 12,000, and then the random ones bumped up to 15,000. And at that point, it was like 14,999 or something ridiculous. It was really close to it. So it was sort of bizarre, sort of the timing and the sequencing of that. But I'm of the opinion that they will stay 35,000. Unless there is a massive influx of people and they just have to mint a crazy amount of new moments. But I'm always they have to keep their product fresh. And I think they would much rather have 100 brand new 35,000 moments than, taking the 100 that they already have and making them 70,000. Having fresh content to them is a big asset. And seeing something from January again and again and again in April, when there's 2 more months worth of awesome content to go out there, even for just random basic players, basic in the Top Shot world. They have so much content to work with. I just don't see them trying to expand those things out for a meaningful way, or in a meaningful way.
You'd rather have more moments of Trey putting up the Kobe, and
I think that's next on the LE list. So we'll get there.
All right, and then we have word that another Holo icon drop is going to be coming. We do not know when exactly yet. And then it also sounds like there are a possibility of 1 or 2 more legendary drops by the time the season wraps up. Rumors of a rookie drop or of a playoff related legendary drop. So we'll be keeping an eye out for those news. That there's nothing further that I'm missing there on those, is there, guys?
No, and to add to here, so there was a legendary last year for the playoffs, and it was the finals, was a legendary set. I would guess, if I'm looking at these two, I think it's more likely that there's another playoff legendary than the rookie legendary. I just see it'd be overkill on the.
There's a lot of rookies already. Yeah, I feel like
you got Halliburton as the reward of the most recent one, and the Edwards was just there. We believe LaMelo is highly likely going to be in one of the upcoming Holo icon ones, and I don't know. It just feels and there's a chance maybe 1 or 2 of those actually end up having, if they're in the legendary one for the playoffs. It's not a great. I don't know. It's not setting yourselves up great long-term to say, hey, we're going to have a rookie legendary on top of those same ones already having some legendary in the Holo. and maybe it's biased that I personally just don't want to see it because I think it's just going to be
a little bit of that.
Just more and more moments out there. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion, like Jacob's teased it twice now, that like, oh, there could be this thing. I'd be more often than not, when he teases something like that, it ends up coming to fruition in one way or another. Maybe it's something that we're not thinking of, that like, some weird way for the off-season stuff to catch up with it. But if you take the idea that it doesn't matter whether or not there are more, like, the rookie market as a whole, like that in the cardboard world as well, like that's what matters, right? Like that, and then like super duper stars. So having inventory now for rookies is not a move towards like, hey, let's like make the marketplace comfortable now. It's the 10-year down the line thought process, which is, hey, we have badges, right, that say minted in their rookie year. It's obviously not they're going to be their Top Shot debut, but like this is the last time that any of the 2021 rookies, or potentially one of the last times that they will ever have a 2-badge moment, right? So to be honest, like in the collectible market for them long term, it may behoove them to have a much broader set of rookie moments across base, common, rare, legendary, that are very specifically tied to rookies, so that they set themselves up for creating that IP to then have next year, and then the next year, and then the next year, so that 5 years or 10 years down the line, it's not just like, oh, hey, there's this common thing, right? Like there are multiple tiers of this rookie over the time. And yeah, it sucks now for anybody that like put all the chips in the like LaMelo /4000 bucket and we're like, oh my God, it's the only one ever. Like, yeah, we probably should have seen that coming. But
it's still his debut.
It is his debut for sure. It was the trashiest moment of all time, but such is life.
And I guess the one thing I'd push back on is, does Top Shot want to have that same alignment to the collectibles market? Because the collectibles from a physical card is LeBron, Kobe, MJ, and rookies, and everything else is nothing. And I think if you start overvaluing rookies, we're trying to align to that old school market when we've got many other reasons, like the tray, where the moment can be really cool, or there's these other significance, and I don't want to just only align. And then the other is, if you do want to do that, let's do a rare set. I mean, I liked, and I know we can't do the rookie debut anymore, but like I love that set from the S1, and like that was a great, I think, quantity wise, it held the value. And I guess
I see what I definitely see where you're coming from there, and I'm really curious with, so like on that, with that argument though, that like, hey, we want to make the middle stuff matter, then like, doesn't it behoove you to have more rookies so that the one thing isn't like wildly overpriced and you're sort of like bringing everything back? I think you can kind of play it from both ends there. But I think even so, TJ, back to your point about like, what do we have coming up? The Holo stuff, like Holo MMXX, 2020 from last year was essentially the 2 best players on every team, right? So if they're going to do 90 this year and have 3 drops worth of it, it's going to be, in theory, the 3 best players on every team. So if you do the math, and I think I saw a tweet from Lindy Holick, who's 84 and up on Twitter. He's one of my favorite follows. He's in a bunch of Discords that I'm in. Next Holo drop, who do we have? Who hasn't been a Holo icon this time around so far through the 60? You've got Luka, you've got Zion, you've got Jaylen Brown, you've got Embiid, you've got Booker, you've got Levine, you've got Durant, you've got Darren Fox, you got RJ Barrett. Like, you've got a bunch of these awesome ones left that aren't rookies, right? You might have some of those too, right? Like you might have a LaMelo or Wiseman. We already have Edwards. There's a handful of other rookies in there that might have a Holo. Halliburton's was the Challenge Award that just finished, and we'll get into that in a minute. But like, there's some cool ones out there as well. And if you take like the 5 rookies that matter, or however many, and make them part of the Holo, you should have a legendary of them. Like, does having a rookie legendary for Peyton Pritchard matter? Like, I don't think so. Yeah. I don't know that I would try and buy it, but I'm curious if it'll be like, maybe they'll pick up on like having more rookies in that Holo icon that like of the ones that are proven now that like, hey, we can kind of see that these players will have some legs in the NBA. But the chances that there's a Giannis out there that like wasn't really a whole hell of a lot his first year, like it might pay for them to have a bigger inventory of legendary moments for these guys that like, just in case, because we certainly don't know yet, right? We know a couple of guys that are like, hey, they have some legs, but like there's going to be a handful of guys in this class that like end up having 10 or 15 or 20 year NBA careers that we didn't think about. AKA Pritchard, as Josh Holmes says.
There was a question in the chat. Justin, maybe get your thoughts on this if you have any, and if not, totally fine too.
But really try to derail us on this one. This is an hour conversation.
I love these questions.
Too long. So basically, just yes or no from both of you. Will they be the same or different? And we won't get too far into the debate.
They will change.
Okay, give me 1 minute or less answer so that we don't ramble on. I gotta start. You know what? Maybe on these shows, it's gonna start being like a time box thing.
No, this is gonna turn into PTI. That's what it's gonna be.
This is gonna be PTI. Yeah.
Which I'm okay.
Yes, they will change. Yes, they will evolve. They're gonna remain dynamic, so people can't completely just manipulate them from multi-account status. Do I think they need to be completely revamped? And like, I think they were happy with saying 80,000 and getting around a 4%, 3% chance, or maybe 4 to 5% chance of actually getting a pack. I think they're probably pretty happy with that. If we want to take the Mike Levy situation of, hey, we should be increasing the prices, I think that's a stronger way. I don't think everyone is always going to want to say that the rules to be so strict that I'm included and no one else is. And it's just not great for discussion, and it's not realistic. We shouldn't be locking people out and only allowing the power users.
Plunge?
Yeah, I think the Mike Levy thread's a good, like, go read it if you haven't. I'm sure everybody here did, but if you didn't, MBL 267 _ NFT on Twitter, Friday thread late. He and I, we were all, there's a bunch of us that are in a DM, and he's going back and forth with us on it. He's like, is it too strong? Is it not? I was like, just fire it off, man. Like, these are the thoughts. Like, we'll react to it in real time. But I think he, in his solutions portion of like, hey, what's going on? The challenge that he said is like EV, or like there is a problem with packs being too EV plus right now, right? So expected value is too much. This lottery is diluting things out, and it's encouraging this concept of rent seeking, right? That we're just trying to there are people that are just trying to extract value out of the ecosystem, whether or not they're here for, right reasons or otherwise. We cannot have a marketplace without people of all types, right? If you only had true collectors, and this is what I said 2 months ago, like when I was in defense of the pack flippers, and I had the thought process of, if people only came in, got packs, and held them, no one would ever be able to collect what they wanted, right? You would never be able to complete a challenge because it would be prohibitively expensive to do so, right? There are people that come in and sell them off for, less than they should in theory versus what their potential future value is, because they're just looking for a profit. But that's actually like okay for the ecosystem. The problem is that it's so good for those people that they are absolutely dominating everything. So it needs to come much closer back. So the levers that he was talking about in the thread are, potentially raising the prices, but it's also, do you need 3 MGLEs in that pack? Probably not. Do you need like, these massive, awesome things outside of it? Like, probably not. Do the cool cats, do they need to be $14? Why can't they be $100? Like, there has to be some opportunities for people to take an L. And right now there just aren't. So, to your question specifically, did they nail the challenge or like the requirements? 80,000 is a lot of people. I think it probably should be more like 25 or 50,000 people. So however they get to that, like however they figure out, like what do 25,000 or 50,000 people have in their accounts, or like what activities, baller status do they have, like that matter to this? They'll find ways to kind of manipulate that. I don't think it'll be exactly the same as before.
Right.
Oh, this is a great comment from Taylor in the chat. This feels like The Bachelor, and I question if the collectors are here for the right reason.
Right.
That's good.
And who gets to say that? Who gets to say that the right reasons? The way how I
Chris
is very different than yours. Like, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, we are 3 white guys, so it makes sense that this is The Bachelor. No, that's not good. To put a bow on it, I do believe that the money for these packs, especially Holo ones, the money paid is either going to go to A, all of Dapper, or B, Dapper and the rent flippers. And if you're in the current situation, your $1,000 goes to Dapper, and the extra $1,500, $2,000 of whatever expected value goes to the rent flippers, and they take it off the platform. If instead it was $2,500 and you paid that to Dapper, and Dapper found a way to push that money back into the ecosystem, whether through lower fees, whether through a loyalty program, reward points, more free moments, whatever it is, I think that's a better system. I trust Dapper to find a way to kind of incentivize market growth through giving back to the community than the people who are the rent flippers who are getting their money and just taking it off.
I mean, right now, and Mike will tell you this too, Mike Levy, the best investment, like, and this is not financial advice, right? Like all across the board, not financial advice. The best investment on Top Shot right now is a pack, period, full stop. It is like, and until that changes, you're not incentivizing people to use a marketplace. And there are tons of people that I came in with that, like, we were super active and engaged in the marketplace, and that has dried up considerably because the best plus EV move that you can make is to try and hit the pack lottery. So if they keep incentivizing it, that's what's going to happen. If they don't, things are going to change.
All right, TJ, take us forward.
Interesting one to keep an eye on. All right, let's talk about one of Plungefather's favorite topics. We've got the Showcase Challenge. So this has been going on for, I guess, almost a week now, and it's running through May 4th. And so everyone can go ahead and create a showcase. If you get 20 plus likes on your showcase, here, I'll pull over the little graphic. So you make a showcase, you get 20 plus likes on your showcase, and you share the link to the showcase on Twitter with the hashtag, you'll get $20 of Dapper credit. So there's a lot of people out there looking to get likes on their showcases. What we are going to say on this show, now we can't do it live, but after the video is completed, if you drop the link to your showcase into the YouTube comment section, we will go ahead and give you a like. So if you're looking to get some likes,
oh man,
after this video is open, you can jam those links in there, and we'll
can you
see
define
what
we?
happens.
Can you define we as we? Do I?
No, you're off the hook, Plunge. You're off the hook. As our guest, we will not put you through that. We'll when I say we, I mean producer Coop. No, I'm just kidding. me, Justin, Coop, all the OTM team. We'll be going through checking out.
Maybe I'll do some. If you guys do mine, then we'll do.
Of course.
And while you're at it, you got to check out, Justin's beautiful red, white, and blue.
I love that. It's so
a bunch of Dwight Howards, showcasing 10 of his 83
which was before,
that he had.
Which was before it was announced. Before the cool cat.
Can't even sell them now. Yeah, now you're just flexing. Like, hey, look at all those challenge rewards that you guys won. I've got them. They're sitting in my showcase.
You better start selling them now because things are gonna pull back real fast. So, oh yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Definitely, you can pop your showcase link into the chat, and I'm sure
you got to go to my Twitter page.
Go like it. Go to his Twitter page. He's got rules. That's right. You do have rules.
No, right now you should go to my Twitter page.
Oh, I should go to it.
Show it because I think it's really important to show. Greg Murray had the right thing. It's pinned on the top, so just click the Bitly link.
Make sure he clicks on the link to make sure we go to the showcase.
Oh no, not this one. It's not in my my pinned tweet. Where it says tweet. Yeah, and then the Bitly link right there.
And then make sure sound's on.
Oh, we're doing sound on?
I hate that they added an advertisement to it. It completely ruins it.
It does.
Hold on.
This is awful.
Sound is not on anyway.
There's a 15-second advertisement on this?
It ruins it. You can see what it is below. But
that's brutal.
I know. I love the idea.
YouTube is the worst.
It was a rickroll that Plungefather did to get people to like his. But when they put an advertisement, and you're just like,
worst.
I know, completely ruined it.
So anyway, can I give my 30-second rant?
Yes.
You can time me. I promise.
I'll take the. I was about to say I'll take the over, but yes.
Okay. So my 30-second rant is this: the purpose of the showcase contest is to reward people that are creative. What it is currently incentivizing, it is rewarding people that are popular. And it is
annoying,
right? That too. And forget that, like, it's a first world problem to have on Twitter to be like, hey, there are so many people that are asking me to like their thing. That's a good problem for us to have, right? Like people follow us. I get it. Right. And even though my notifications are blown up, what I worry about is because it's a popularity contest, like the dynamics are so skewed. And I'm sure you guys are in the same boat. Schiller's in the same boat. Like everybody that is an influencer feels obligated to give back because they recognize that their celebrity, relatively speaking, puts them in like a wildly advantageous position. And I think that's just like such a crappy place. I would love to do this if it didn't mean that like I had to deal with the dynamics of like shilling my own bag. And I just hate that. So I'm not really like I'm going to put one together at some point to get my $20. I'm also very, very convinced that it's going to be part of the Cool Cats challenge. So everybody should do this. If you're going for the Master Cool Cats, I think doing this and getting 20 likes is going to give you a Cool Cat, I think, like, or something like it. But it just, the incentives of it are all out of whack. And I really, really hope that someone that like, the 50 people that have no following on Twitter end up in the pack lottery because it's stupid otherwise. Maybe that was more than 30 seconds.
That's fine. But I mean, from the very beginning, right when this is announced, this is, we were like, hey, we understand that influencers have an advantage here. It's not fair. We want to do something about it. So we're just like, no matter what pack we get, if we finish in the top 50, we have 800 likes. And I think we're still probably 1,000 outside of the top 50. Like the amount of activity from whether it's just influencer status or just spamming or just, getting the likes for likes, like, our Twitter accounts have turned into what DraftKings and FanDuel did to our watching TV in 2018. Like, was it good for the industry? I don't know. Like, are they getting a whole bunch of interest in marketing? And like, yeah, I guess, but I don't know. At the end of the day, what we're saying is that, especially when we've been doing this with people in the Discord, is that we will make sure that everyone gets 20 likes because that's really what's most important here. And so for the people who are trying to get up in that top 50, like I'll tell you, if you haven't seen it, you pretty much need about, I think it's 1.8 or 2,000 likes to be in that top 50 right now. And that's probably going to get up to maybe 3, 4, 5,000 by the end of this. I don't know. But like, it's absolutely insane. Focus on getting your 20, get your $20. You might get that extra bonus, Cool Cat or moment or who knows. But even if you don't, just $20 is great. And so that's what I'm saying. Put it in the
buy the next Cool Cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and I see Evan in the chat. Evan saying IDM, and there's lots of people grinding. Yeah, more power to you. But Evan, you've got almost 3,000 Twitter followers. Like, and I don't know how many of my followers have 3,000 Twitter followers. And more power to you. Like, awesome, keep going. But like the fact that you're having to grind over that, like, it seems so out of whack. And if people are having fun with it, awesome. Like, more power to you. And I don't know, maybe I'll do a poll at some point. I don't really have any vested interest in like proving to Dapper or proving to NBA Top Shot that this was like a bad idea or a poorly executed one, like, because it doesn't really matter, right? What my opinion is about it, the whole thing. It just seems like the incentives and the economics of it are just like out of whack. And so I'm just like sort of choosing to not participate actively in it just because I don't want to deal with it. So I'm going to do my thing to get my 20 likes. And go from there. That said, if anybody is really trying to win this thing, can I give a bit of social media strategy advice? Man.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Guerrilla marketing here, right? Like I know that these likes are additive, right? They don't go away. So starting it now is totally fine. But if you're grinding now to the point where you are getting as far as you can in the first week or two, like you are going to get absolutely blown out of the water by people coming down the backstretch because you have been in the market when it's all saturated. And guess what? A lot fewer people are going to be tweeting about this in like the lead up to May 4th. And if you've already crossed all of the bridges that you've like, or burned all of the bridges or like knocked on all of the doors that you possibly could have knocked on in like middle of April, virality, like your ability to like viral push yourself forward is like diminished rapidly. So again, I'm not saying stop and don't do anything, but like make it now or make it before, whatever. But like, if you're going to put a big effort into it, put a big effort towards the end because it's going to be a lot less saturated, I think, than it is right now. So that's my not financial advice.
Also, the fact that this is a month long, I mean, this could have been a week.
It's long. Yeah. I don't know why I had to be so long. We'll see. But it's a week would have been more fun. But yeah, the spamming is a bit much. But hey, for those people out there grinding, I respect that too.
Showcase fatigue. Michael Binns got it right. Major showcase fatigue. You're like, the apathy is real, and get into as many discords as you can. Like, show your bags as much as you can. You have the good thing is that they have to be Top Shot users, right? So it can't be just like, hey, nobody can go buy likes, which is a good thing, right? Like, you can't just be like, oh, hey, go buy my Twitter likes or something like that. But now that signups are open,
I was just about to say,
signups are wide open.
This is actually just a ruse to catch multi-accounters. So
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, signups are open, and on the NBA website under the ticketing section, we're seeing a Top Shot link pop up. So that's exciting. I think it's going to be
marketing.
Yeah,
active marketing on a thing that's
going to ramp it up.
That so few people actually go to, because nobody actually buys tickets to games during a pandemic. But hey, it's a step
in the right direction.
I went to an NBA game this past week.
I went 2 weeks ago, actually, for the first time too.
It was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It was so
one
wonderful.
was there.
There was nobody there. It's weird.
And it's not just because it was Florida. Like, normally sports in Florida, but
yeah. So Magic or I assumed
Heat.
Or Heat.
I did Heat. I was down in Miami. It was actually
the American Airlines.
It was Chris Paul, Devin Booker. Fantastic. Yeah.
Thoughts on the
boys?
Suns? You like them going forward?
Wake Forest, so Chris Paul, huge Chris Paul fan, and then we have Devin Booker Cosmic. So like the Suns have become kind of a pet team behind the Nuggets. Yeah,
why not? Love that.
Love it. All right, I just have one more topic here, and I don't think there's even a ton to discuss on it, but the return of baller status. So Justin, if you just want to give a quick spiel to the people that basically there's not much of an update on baller status, because the fact that I had to ask you before the show, like, wait, what's actually going on with it? You're like, that's the problem. No one knows. I'm like, okay. So okay. But
we don't need to spend too much time on this. High level, they have plans that they're going to revamp this. It's going to turn likely into some form of a status, a gamification that rewards activity, that rewards loyalty, rewards engagement. There's no set plan right now, but they've said that they're going to revamp it for people who have been accumulating points but not showing up for the most recently. Those will count, but they're also going to do a revamp of the system, because right now it's like if you get 5 legendary packs, you get a lot of points. Well, what are you doing to get those legendary packs? It's pure luck and stuff. So they're going to revamp it. They'll change it. We don't need to focus on it. When we get more information, we can talk about it. And I think it'll tie, like hardcourt will probably have some impact too.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll continue to get updates on that, and when we have more clear information, we'll go on that.
Yeah, they just need to super incentivize people to get the invite link. Your baller status should be 100% tied to how many people you bring in to really cement it as a pyramid scheme.
And if you show that on Twitter and you include the hashtag,
100%. 100%. I was actually looking at this yesterday. I was like, I'm a rook on baller status.
That's what you just said.
I have.
Yeah, that's what I said too. And I'm like, wait, how is this being determined if I'm a rook? Like, what? I was kind of offended. I'm like, how am I a rook? How dare you, Dapper?
Yeah, it's like purchase 1 rare pack. Haven't been able to do that. Literally have struck out on every single rare and legendary. Follow your first NBA team to showcase your fandom. I do already. It's broken.
Yeah.
So anyway, collect an ultimate moment. There's 7,000 points there. So I guess you can get that if you spend $1 quadrillion or whatever.
Eventually.
But yeah, can't even actually know yet, but eventually.
Yeah.
Speaking of $1 quadrillion, Dapper Valuation.
Lots of money. All of the money.
Just a few short weeks after Dapper raised, what was it, a $305 million round at a $2.6 billion valuation. They are now raising again at a $7.5 billion or potentially even more valuation. So Justin, any thoughts on that, or how would you break this down for the people?
Yeah, so 2 things here, and Rohan mentioned this on Twitter. This isn't official. This is rumored valuation. There is no official funding round that's finished. Usually when these announcements come out and they're final, it's a process that has been going on from a fundraising for probably 3 to 6 months. We don't actually know when that previous round of the $305 million at the 2.6 or whatever it was, valuation, when that started and when it finished. So this might be a more logical, like it is only 6 months, 9 months past it from and when this actually closes. That's the kind of cautious take. My initial take was, okay, they just raised a ton of money, 300 million. And now we're hearing that their valuation went up by 5x and they need a ton more money. To me, that tells me NFL. And this is purely just my first take was we don't know anything about
3x.
Yes. What was it?
2.25 to 7.5.
Okay, so 3x.
And between 3 and 5.
Okay. And in a couple months from when we heard the recent one.
Yeah.
And so how does your valuation go up so quickly combined with why do you need more money? Both of those tell me, well, if you got the NFL to sign a letter of intent or some kind of an agreement, you need the money. That could be. Now, the other could just be that previous round was when Dapper was doing really well in December, January, and we hadn't seen the March.
I don't think it was because there were people that. So I hate to like pump their bags, but like Matty Ice and Josh Hart, for example, were involved in that round. Right. So maybe I guess in theory it could have started before then. So like the timing is a little off, but like I think
I agree.
You're dead on. I think you're dead on that like something substantively changed in 2 months. And it's in the what does the future of this thing look like? And I guarantee you that it wasn't just like, oh, hey, we gathered more money.
Right. It wasn't Top Shot. It wasn't Top Shot.
No way. Not a chance. So we don't need to do the PTI thing. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Whether it's the NFL or it's 3 other massive media properties that they now have. And again, 100% speculation. This is nothing is confirmed. Maybe they did some crazy magic with the accounting. Like, who knows? But I think there is a very, very serious path forward with Dapper leading the way on being the partner that a major IP intellectual property group goes with to launch their non-fungible token collectible thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. We'll see. Fingers crossed, because if we could get this going before NFL season, oh my gosh, like level of excitement.
Doubtful, but
that would be a lot to pull together, but that would be
yeah. I mean, just in terms of their team scaling, like
5-6 months. Yeah.
No way. I don't see it. Like at least not in any meaningful way. Maybe they shoot a beta together to test something out. I think that like I don't know. I'm of the opinion that yes, it needs to be unique, right? Like the NFTs for the NFL can't just be, hey, let's put the same frames and the same structure around common and rare and legendary and all. Like, I guess it's possible, but I just don't see that being like the right move, right? I don't see that being like, oh, hey, we just put NFL clips or like we put football clips into these same skins and it being like the same thing. Because and maybe, I don't know if you guys agree or disagree with that, but like it proved a concept, but I don't know if it's like the final form of that thing, especially if there's mobile gaming stuff that comes on the heels of that. So I don't know. I think it needs to be like different enough to stand on its own.
Yeah. I'm going to show one thing real quick, TJ. So when we put out a survey a week or so back just to get a better understanding of like Top Shot users. And so I think we ended up getting around 1,300 some responses. And one of the questions was provide your level of interest in other NFTs. And so 1 being the least interested, which is this blue, 5 being the most interested, which is the purple. What was really interesting is NFT art is the first one. NFT collectibles is the second. And you really just don't see that there's that much from a non-sports. When we get to the sports side, the formatting is weird right here. But this is NFL. If Dapper Labs was to come out with an NFL product, holy crap, the amount of interest that people would have. This one was Dapper Labs for upcoming UFC MMA, and this was just other sports ones. So you see that this market, without a doubt, is more on the sports side than just the NFT collectible crypto side. And NFL would just be a complete home run, the level of interest that people would have.
Absolutely.
TJ, are you a big NFL guy? I feel like I haven't heard your voice the entire time we've been on.
I'm a big NFL guy. Yeah, I play a lot of NFL, DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports. I'm like playing wise, I'm a hockey guy though.
Oh, really? Yeah, where'd you grow up?
In hockey, Philly area.
Okay.
So I grew up Philly, played hockey. I'm actually going to. You guys said you've been to NBA games. I'm actually going to a Flyers game this weekend. So
are you really?
I'm getting
That's exciting.
Getting an NHL game in.
So the week. So have you? So I assume you grew up in Philly and like Philly sports through and through.
Yeah.
This is making me like, hey, I don't watch. As if you've talked about this at length, like then, hey, Pete Plunge doesn't watch. Okay, well you should, because this is important. It humanizes you. So wait, go ahead, Justin.
DJ actually just finished, but the past few years he was coaching hockey in college.
Were you really?
Yeah, Coach Drexel University club hockey. Yeah.
Damn, that's pretty.
I'm actually rocking my Penn State hockey shirt. I just realized that. So there we go. Penn State Line, shout out.
Who knew? So okay,
now from this.
So I have a 4-year-old who will be 5 in July, and I have a almost 2-year-old. He'll be 2 next month.
Okay.
My 4-year-old is starting soccer next weekend. So I think I ticked the box on the like sign up form that said like I'd be like, okay, helping with an assistant coach. And like I played soccer all the way through high school. I didn't like play in college or anything, but like I know enough. But like I'm not organized at all. So I was like, I can't be the head coach, right? Any thought like did you coach like kiddos, or did you like? Do you have any tips for me and my 4-year-old?
College kids, so quite different.
Okay.
I mean, so with 4-year-olds, it's going to be like kick the ball, and
right.
Hopefully the parents don't get too mad at you.
That's like chase the ball.
yeah. It's just going to be a bunch of people chasing around the ball. I mean, just make sure they have a good time. Make sure they have orange slices in between. Like, do they still do that? That's what it was like when I was a kid. I hope so. Still the thing.
One can only hope. I could be the orange guy. I could be the orange slice guy.
Okay. Maybe that could be your role.
Like, I'm happy to play a part. Happy to play a part. That's exciting. So you're going to a Flyers game?
Correct. Sunday.
That's cool. So what's the capacity like at the whatever center?
I actually don't know the number, but the seats were very spaced out. Like there's not going to be that
wild.
It's going to be weird, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be weird.
So, like I've only been to 2 pro hockey games in my life. The first one I was up in Minnesota for Thanksgiving after like Christmas or during a Thanksgiving break from college. My parents were too cheap to send me home, so they sent me up to their friends in Minnesota, and I went to the Minnesota Wild game. And then the second game, I was traveling for work, literally pandemic, like the March 17th or whatever, when everything got shut down. Like it was that week, that Tuesday, I went to the Maple Leafs game in Toronto. And like packed in, super tight, like everybody's there, right? And I flew home the next day, and like the world shut down. It's like maybe I shouldn't have been in like a stadium with 12,000 people right now. It was great. I don't even know what happened during the game. I couldn't tell you who won. I had a lot of beers though. It was great. It was fun. I like hockey.
The gap.
I didn't play it growing up, but it was fun.
The gap between watching a sport on TV and in person, hockey's the largest. Like the lack of entertainment if you're not a huge hockey fan from watching it on TV, because 10 years ago you couldn't even see the puck on TV, and going to a game, which is just a huge party, so much fun in person. Wife loves it, even though she isn't a hockey fan at all, but just like fun experience.
For sure. Someone asked in the chat, I'm out of Madison, Wisconsin, or just outside of Madison.
And you have a couple recommendations for your soccer. So smaller groups, easier to teach. So do some stations.
Derek, love it. Thank you.
And then hopefully this isn't like a bad joke.
Oh man. Oh, that could be bad.
There we go. Yeah, wait. We'll need to get some to your YouTube channel. You can post some videos of you coaching. That'd be great humanizing content for you.
So I've actually been and this is maybe a weird segue. Do you guys have kids?
We do not.
No.
Producer Coop does. Producer Coop has an 8-month-old son, but
I saw that, which is exciting. By the way, that intro video, can we just get some W's in the chat, please? Because that was fire. Just like straight fire. Inject that into my veins, man. Like it was so good. So good. Anyway, W's in the chat for Producer Coop on that awesome, dope intro video. If you're here for that, we should play it again. Do a little intermission. Everybody can go take a break, take a little breather, listen to it again. Anyway, it's your stream. You can do what you want. But the idea here is that when my kiddos were born, my wife and I made a very intentional choice to keep them off of social media. So like you look at my Facebook, I don't have any pictures of my kids. And it was like a very, very specific choice. It was like we had a very detailed conversation about, hey, like we're in an increasingly digital world. When my daughter's name is Noella, like when Noella is 13 years old, do you want her to have like a social media presence at all before she chooses to? And it was like, no, we don't. So like, we don't post anything on there. Like we thank God for family. Like, what you can see my kids on there. There's my son. Hold on. That's my son, Leo. So there you go. That's a one of one NFT on the internet of my son because it doesn't exist elsewhere.
It was funny because I saw myself first because it was just reflecting.
Yeah,
I thought this was like a "Who's your daddy" joke.
No, not at all. But we have like a shared album or whatever. So like I share with all my family and all that. But anyway, so that was a dad aside. But thank you for everybody in the chat giving me recommendations. DM me if you actually have like good stuff, because I'm like, I need to read up. I'm going to take a break from NBA Top Shot and figure out how to coach my 4-year-old in soccer, because that's more important than Top Shot right now. But anyway, I digress. Back to live action.
All right. We're going to try to wind things down quickly. I think from the challenges, we're just going to touch on it briefly, talk through the fact that we had some challenges ended today, talk about the fact that we have Cool Cats 4, but Wednesday we're going to do a deep dive, and I'm sure we'll talk a lot more about the challenges then. So just kind of more informative here. Have both the Holo Icon and the MGLE challenges wrap up today. 46 completions for the Holo Icon, 172 for the MGLE. Justin, did you participate in either of these challenges?
Yes, the Holo. And this was a high capital situation, but from a numbers perspective, it was a fantastic deal. If you are planning on, if you're still bullish on Top Shot in the long run and you're planning on kind of just holding, this is a tricky situation for people who, if you're trying to be a flipper, because there is very little liquidity, very little people are trying to buy these after the challenge. And I think as of when this show started, the reward of Halliburton out of 46 had not sold any. Right. And so I am extremely happy with completing it just because, hey, for that amount of money, I've gotten an Edwards, I've gotten a couple other really good players, and now I have a Halliburton that, for all intents purposes, is going to be his most valuable moment on the site for him, other than a N out of 3, N out of 1 Genesis Ultimate one. And we'll see what Halliburton's ceiling ends up being as a player, but if he's anywhere near like the Jaw Zion, I don't think he's going to be at the Jaw Zion from an actual talent, but that moment should be nearly as valuable as an S2, but it's still just as rare. And so you got the Jaw Zion from our rookies. You're then going to have a next tier, and I think this moment probably is that next tier, because even the LaMelo and the Edwards are going to be a higher serial for this year. And we'll see what else comes.
So this is super interesting to me, like looking at this one versus 3, 2, and 1, right? So like for everybody that wasn't here back in the day, like the first one for Holo Icon was during, like it literally finished on the peak of the upslope for the bull run. It was Trae Young, and I think it like, oh God, you're going to test me here, but like 58?
I want to say it finished out. I think it is 58. I think it is 58 because it's 44-46 for Jokic and Harden. I think it was 58.
Right. So 58 complete. There you go. Okay, so 58. Yeah. But look at the peak. I think like when it peaked in terms of finishing. So like it peaked at 50, right? For how much was it? It was like in terms of
I can zoom in. You want to zoom in, Tej?
To zoom in here.
Yeah, just look at the peak, like right before the challenge ended, because it ended on February 22nd at 1 p.m. So if you like hover over, I think it's February 22nd. So yeah, basically 65K, right? So like you needed 65K to finish the Trae Young, right? And like what's a 60 Trae right now? Like not even
14K, 13K at the floor. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you add all of those things in 14, like probably not all the way there. And that's a function of the market dipping, right? But the biggest piece there was AD. And then the second one, I think, was Brandon Ingram. Those were the two that like carried the most water, the whole challenge. And it's really interesting when you have a super duper star piece that throws the economics out of whack. So I would say that AD is one of the super duper star pieces that throws the economics out of whack. The second one that was Holo Icon Was it 2 or 3 that had Curry?
Harden and then Jokic were the
winners. It was
there we go.
I think it was
2 had Steph.
Yeah, so it was this
one.
Yeah, so this one, it cost like 100. It was like $85K by the time it was over. Like, it was just like stupid expensive. There's no way that like a normal person could complete it unless you had a massive Dapper balance from doing it before, or your name is Dingling, right? Like,
or you
just
pulled
wasn't
the Steph.
But even so, like, I think it was the Steph was like a 40 or 50 at that point or whatever it was. But even so, it was like 70 grand for the other ones because you needed Melo, and like it just turned into this big fucking mess. Excuse my language. But the idea is that like this in Halliburton, like the biggest piece wasn't that big in the grand scheme. Yeah, it's big, but like it wasn't that big relatively speaking. So like the barrier to entry was sort of low, but like the narrative that like challenges aren't worthwhile, it doesn't matter for this tier of stuff. Like, if you have the capital for this type of stuff, you shouldn't even think about it. You should have thought about it for Holo Icon 2 with Steph. Like, if you didn't have Steph, that's a big expense. But like, I don't know. I think I saw. I mean, how many sales have happened with the Halliburton? Probably 1 or 2. And I think the low ask I saw earlier. Or 0. Yeah. And it was like 15K or something like that. Like, the people that complete this aren't looking to like flip it quickly. Like, that's not the dynamic. And we see a little bit less version of that, like in the MGLE challenges. So the dip is much less significant than the common challenges because the barrier to entry is so much higher. And even with like a $5,000 price tag for the MGLE challenges, as opposed to a $50,000 price tag or a $30,000 price tag, like that barrier to entry prevents the speculative investment stuff. It's a far more collector driven experience than it is at the bottom of the barrel. And I'm playing in the bottom of the barrel. I want to make that abundantly clear to everybody else here that like I have not even been close to being able to complete an MGLE challenge. I don't have enough money. My account's not big enough. Like, I didn't make smart enough decisions early on or whatever else, right? Like, I can't play in that, and I'm not willing to like put it all on a credit card to float it. Like, this is not the pool that I'm playing with. But it's a lot harder to look at these challenges and say like, oh, that should be indicative of what happens in Cool Cats or what happens in these other common challenges. Like they're different challenges completely. And I think that some of the dynamics hold a little bit in terms of like, there's a little bit of a utility premium, but on here, even like, I think it dipped 30%. Yeah. 32% post challenge. But like the people, like the things that got sold off, like if you look in your challenge page right now at like, I actually kind of like the way that I actually don't just kind of like, I love the way that your challenge pages, if you scroll down to the bottom, like which pieces do you need left? You can tell right from the moments needed, what pieces did the people that completed it sell off right away. And it's all Darius Basley. It's the trash ones. Like, you can see it right away. But like, so for the people that are like in the process of ratcheting themselves down from this, like, they don't sell the expensive stuff, right? Like they hold on to it. Like there's probably a handful of sales for the Edwards or whatever else is the big one in this one. The Edwards is the big one, but like
Kyrie's second.
Yeah. So, I mean, of the people that completed this, of the 46 people that completed this, how many people have sold the Edwards or the Kyrie Irving in the last however many hours? Like 0, probably.
Yeah, very few.
It doesn't happen, right? And so, and that is this sort of a similar narrative to the Cool Cats and some of these other like base set challenges, that like the people that sell off in the aftermath are not the people that are like taking fat L's. It's the people that like missed on the hold that didn't succeed. So anyway, challenges are super interesting though. Super duper interesting. I'm very curious, Justin and TJ, how you see the last 48 hours of the Cool Cats going. Because I think that is something that everybody in here is probably playing in that end of the pool compared to these other ones. Like, what do you think happens in the last 48 hours?
Yep. And then, so it's a Thursday completion. So we still have tonight, tomorrow, and then we have those 48 hours. And my strong opinion is, because it's not the Wednesday. I actually thought it was the Wednesday earlier when I was doing this. But it is Thursday. My strong opinion is that the Dwight Howard, the Serge Ibaka, and the Jeremy Grant are going to continue to go up in price. as long as the completions continue to track towards what I think is going to be something around 6,000. Now, if we assume that it does go to 6,000 completions, which is another 2,400 or so, you have 2,400 people. So let's go down a bit if we can, TJ, to see the moments needed. Dwight Howard, Serge Ibaka, Jeremy Grant are at the top. And these are the bottlenecks for the challenge. Dwight Howard and Serge Ibaka make complete sense. They are /15K, while the Cool Cats are /20K, and the other moments are /35K. Jeremy Grant might come as a surprise to some people, but if you look at his actual circulation count, there aren't as many out there. I don't know the exact number, but the other is the Cool Cats were all put in people's counts a week ago. They all went into a drop. They got them. So people are hyper aware that they either they should probably be selling them or they should be collecting them, and they know this is going on. People who have the Howards, the Ibakas, the Grants, a lot of them may not be active in the site. They don't know that the Howards, or they don't know they're in the challenge. So even though it says for the Grant there's 35,000, even if we see that only 18,000 are owned, I think there's a large percent of those, maybe only 15,000, 14,000 know that this is even relevant. So if we care, if we track towards that 6,000 completions, that's 40%, 45% that are going to need to be bought up in the marketplace. And so we should then look to listings as our next data point.
Right.
And if we see here,
as opposed to
there's 700 listings for Dwight and Ibaka, there's around 1,100, 1,150. And so for me, as someone who has about 70 or 80 Howards, about 30 Ibakas, I'm tracking that. I'm tracking those listings. I can't believe that. And
have you sold them? Have you sold any?
I sold 3 Howards and 2 Ibakas just because I was sitting on the toilet and I was like, I should probably start
planning to
sell them now.
Justin is in need of someone that is going to click the buttons to sell 80 Dwight Howards. He's probably too lazy to go through the effort of clicking.
Holy cow.
That would be a big roadblock for me.
Did you see this Jeremy Grant highlight though? I'm buying it right now, by the way.
Oh, no. People in our Discord have been saying, like, I'm actually so upset that I have to sell them, but I'm going to have to buy them back because it's such a great highlight.
It's filthy.
Yeah.
It's filthy. But don't snipe this from me. I got the last $36 one. Shh.
There you go. It's okay. But I think the big thing here is that if there's still 2,500 collectors to complete the Cool Cat Challenge, which is what I believe there will be, if there ends up being fewer, then that Russell Westbrook actually becomes more valuable because it becomes more of a bottleneck to the Luka Challenge than even the Jokic, which was at 6,500. So I think we're still gonna push to about that 6,000 completions. So if 2,500 people, and so if 2,500 people need to complete it, and we see how many still need it, these moments, and there's just not as many in the marketplace, that's why I think that price is going to continue to go up. Now, the Cool Cats...
Well, it's going to go up right now because the 36 got taken off the board, so it's up 37, fucker. Sorry, excuse my language. I got a failed payment. Someone bought it from me. Dang it.
I will say, so John Boy, who is a friend of the OTM, is in the Discord heavily. A lot of people know him on Twitter. He and a couple people in the Discord had been heavily talking about this Jeremy Grant theory from the beginning. And we're buying up all the way up through the 30s, knowing that, hey, this was going to become a hidden bottleneck in combination with Dwight and Ibaka. So much respect, credit to them. It's been really interesting to see how we can learn from circulation count and its impact on challenges, not just the total /35K.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. The thing that I will say with this though is that like the push pull here is buyers and sellers, right? Like if you need 2,500 or 2,000 people to sell this stuff off, like, or buy this stuff up, the fact that there are still 700 listings of this, and there are going to be far more people that are aware that those things are happening. Like, you may end up in a spot where, because people become aware that those things are out there, they start doing the math of, what is this Jeremy Grant 35,000 worth after this challenge? Right. So like in the lead up to, and this is my thought on the Cool Cats in general, right? If you take the rent seeker concept and you say, all right, everybody that bought a $14 Cool Cats pack, how do you get whole on that if you don't care about the Cool Cat? Well, you sell the Cool Cat, right? Well, right now there are 20,000 people. Let's say, how many completions we have? 4,000, 3,500, somewhere in there. and even if you think 6,000 total of each of them are going to be a part of that challenge, right? There are 14,000 other people outside of those that will all be vying for making their money back, right, on this thing. And, if you end up in a spot where you're plus on the pack, relatively speaking, like the psychological barrier right now of the 30 got broken, the $30 moments. And it's very possible that like we'll see a race to the bottom in the lead up to the challenge, like more so than we have in yeah. I mean,
completely.
Why keep a Bogdan? Like, okay, Bogdan's a bad example because he's actually like affiliated, but like Christian Wood or Drew Holiday, like if you're sitting there right now at $29 and then people start undercutting, let's say there's 20 listings at $29 or 50 listings at $30 and people start undercutting and it starts to get to 25 and then your thing's out of whack and we're getting close to the child, like, there's going to be tons of people that are going to start like, hey, I want to get mine off my hands because I want to make my pack money back or whatever the case is. Like, I don't care about Drew Holiday. I have no interest in having Drew Holiday. So I think that, it's an interesting dynamic. I have now, because I just successfully purchased, you scared me. You scared me into the Jeremy Grant thing. I now own Dwight and Jeremy Grant. I don't own any of the other 10. Under the you got 30 of them. You should gift me one for being on your show. I'm just kidding. But in the grand scheme of things, like if those are the bottlenecks, right? Like then the people that are, that got the pack, how many of them know what's going on other than the low ask of the thing at that point, right? Like, if we think of the 400,000 people that lined up and 300,000 people that lined up and the 90 something thousand that converted, like how many of them are that in the know? And like, hey, if I can get my $15 out of this, I'm plus, right? If I can get my $20 out of this, I'm plus. And I can very easily see a world where like in the last 12 to 24 hours, or even maybe in like the 6 to 12 hours leading up to it, that $20 psychological barrier gets broken and there's just a race, much like we saw at the front end where there was like, I think, almost all of them, if not all of the cool cats ended up like selling a handful of them below $20. Like not many, right? It popped right back up. But like right in that like initial, hey, I'm just trying to make my nut back, there was a lot of them that ended up in that like $15, $18 range. Not financial advice. Thank you, Michael Benz. Not financial advice.
And I think the one thing that we just make clear is I agree completely with Plungefather, and what's going to happen to the cool cats and what's going to happen to the bottlenecks, I think, is inverse. And the whole price of the challenge should stay around the same. I think it is actually going to go up a little, but like, those cool cats just don't have the value because exactly what Plungefather was saying, it's those bottlenecks that are going to be where the price and why this remains at that 350 or whatever to complete.
Makes a lot of sense. And on Wednesday, we will be going into a deeper dive into some analysis. We'll be talking through a backwards looking view of the Holo icon and kind of the thought process that Justin had in terms of why he wanted to go for that challenge. And then we'll be diving deeper into the cool cats, as I think we'll be the night before completion at that point. So everyone, 8:30, same time, 8:30 p.m. Wednesday evening, Justin and I will bring that to you. But now we are going to head into the final segment. This is a new thing that we're going to start doing on this show, calling it the weekly Pickem. So what we have here is
weekly Pickem, sponsor pending.
Sponsor pending, potentially. Wow, teasing heavy. Look at you, yeah. Sponsor pending. Look at that. All right, so here's the rules. Every single week, Justin, myself, producer Coop, and whoever our guest is going to select one Series 1 base moment that they will think gains the most over the course of the week based on the percentage gain. This time next week, as we get to this segment, we'll be looking at all 4 picks that each of us made, checking out the 7-day percentage change on OTMNFT.com. Great website if you haven't checked it out. And whoever has the best gain is the winner and gets a point. And we're going to keep a running tally over the course of the season. So we're going to go ahead and reveal all of our picks, give a quick spiel as to why, and then we're going to close out the show. So I will go first. And mine is going to be, maybe a little bit of a homer pick, some may say, but we have none other than Joel Embiid, Series 1, Top Shot debut.
I bought this at $1,300, just so you know.
I hope
it goes back up.
I don't want to play that game.
Hey, maybe it'll be at 1,300 by this time next week, Plungefather.
I would love that. I would love that. Great pick. 100% co-signed. I love this pick. Please, please, please give me a hot water.
So, I mean, my reasonings, obviously, I'm a Sixers fan, so go Joel. But I also was, grinding the NBA TV schedule, and the Sixers have 2 ESPN games, 1 TNT game, and 1 NBA TV game this week. He's in the midst of an MVP race with Nikola Jokic, and a lot of eyeballs are going to be on JoJo this week. And the final thing I saw was that his low ask is $665. The second low ask is $695. So if one person can just make that purchase, that's a nice built-in floor there. And hey, maybe I'll make a purchase, Monday night if I'm feeling desperate. We may be looking at the terms and conditions of that one. But yes, Joel Embiid, Series 1 first moment. That's my pick. Justin, over to you for your selection.
Gosh, I did not go well enough into this. That is fantastic. Go ahead, put mine on the board. I am going with Miles Bridges. Went with the Top Shot debut moment as well. I think if you're going to go Series 1, you've got to focus on those Top Shot debuts. Big thing here is that I think he is starting to get a little of the publicity, a little of the recognition, and people are realizing he may actually be good. And if Miles Bridges actually is good, he is phenomenal for Top Shot because the dunks that he puts down are unmatched. I personally believe that he is the dunk of the year over the Anthony Edwards one. And if we can just continue to, as you get a little more fame, we're not going to see LaMelo back just yet, even though he's cleared for the individual activities. But I think a couple more highlights of Miles Bridges. He's someone that I personally am starting to try to work into the account. I know there's the MGLEs that I'm looking at too for him too. That seemed like good value, but I chose this one. It's affordable, and I'm hoping that. I did not pack my bags enough before I realized what we were doing with this. I need to go buy some of these now that I realize what this show's turned into.
No, we're not pumping bags. We're just, giving some takes here.
Okay. It's a bag pumping. It's a good old fashioned bag pumping. I love it. It's my favorite.
Hey, I've had like 30 Joel Embiids for 2 months now, and they were doing really, really well at one point. And like you, Plunge, I didn't stop buying and definitely bought some in that 1,300 range. They were up to like 1,800 at one point. I remember.
Oh yeah, I bought him because I was like, oh my god, he's going to be the MVP, and that was at the height of the market. So then, yeah, everything came back.
All right, we've got producer Coop's pick as well. He's going with R.J. Barrett, triple badge, actually quadruple badge, triple badge rookie. He's high on the Knicks right now. Knicks are hot, looking to make a playoff run, and that's all the bag pumping I've got on behalf of Coop. So, producer Coop, shout out to you behind the scenes and your RJ Barrett pick. And for the final, Mr. Plungefather, who is going to be your pick of the week?
Michael Porter Jr. Have you guys seen this highlight?
I'm supposed to click it. Michael,
have you seen it?
Let's check it out. I'm about to pull it up. I'm sure I have.
It's unreal. So for full disclosure, I don't own it because it's kind of expensive. Like I look at things that are over like $200 and I'm like, that's kind of expensive. I'm again not playing in the same end of the pool as some people, but this moment is sick. Like, get out of here. Like, filthy. Just so badass. And
love it.
With Jamal Murray down. So my thesis here is Jamal Murray's down. Nuggets have a very good shot to make a run in the West. And he is getting better and better and better with Jokic. Like he's getting, I heard, I don't know if you guys listen to the Bill Simmons podcast. I love the Bill Simmons podcast. I love listening to Ryan Russillo. And he referred to Michael Porter Jr. getting like the Jokic juice, like the juice on him, like just being around someone who passes as well as Jokic does and just like understands and has really high basketball IQ. Like he's good. He's very good. And this is one of those moments that like low mint, dope moment, playoff team. It's going to be, I know it's only a 7-day thing. I think if you gave me like the 2-month window, I think I would win hands down. 7 days might be a little bit aggressive, but I love this moment.
Love it. Love it. All right. There it is. Got our final picks. We'll check them out next week, see who won. Apparently I'm already losing because Embiid is already down to $650. So,
yeah, what's the timestamp? Is it like as of the? I love that.
I want to real quick. Warren Watson mentioned this, and turns out I also tried to purchase this one when I was saying this. And if you look to see who bought it, I looked to see. Yeah, well, I looked to see, and I was like, I recognize that name. Doubled up. Yep. Okay. Good job. Thanks for because it ended at 69 too, so you get the numerology going there too.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, that's great. Cool. Well, you know what, guys? That does it for the first edition here of the NBA Top Shot Weekly Tip-Off. Plunge, it was a pleasure having you on the show, my friend.
As always.
This
is great, man. We'll have to have you guys on the live from the Plunge and stream at some point.
Absolutely.
In the near future. That'd be a blast.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, hey, just if you're like, hey, I can't list all these Serge Ibaka's, like, if you just want to send them my way, it's like at Plungefather, at Top Shot, just feel free. It doesn't. I mean, friends helping friends, no biggie.
We'll see what happens Wednesday night.
Sounds good, man. All right, hey, it was a pleasure, guys. Honestly, thank you so much. It was a blast. And I'm very strongly considering just like throwing open Twitch here in the next 10 or 15 minutes and keeping it rolling with anybody. So I may do that. Check Twitter, but I will very likely hop on Twitch here in a little bit and just keep the party rolling. So if you guys are around and want to keep chatting it up, we'll switch over to twitch.tv/Plungefather here in about 10 or 15 minutes.
Good deal. Everyone, go ahead, join Plunge over there. Justin.
Yeah, I wanted to give Plungefather for you, and especially the shout out is for Coop. If you haven't watched this video yet, go on our YouTube channel, watch this.
I will.
It is called the launch video, and it is 3 minutes of, I believe he got compared to
I'll
Scorsese.
Play it on the stream.
He may be. Oh my God! Like this,
play it on Twitch.
It gives you the chills.
I'll play it on Twitch. I'll play it on the intro to the Twitch side of things in like 10 or 15 minutes.
Wait,
we'll
put your link
plan on going
chat?
live at 9:15.
I want to put your link
please
in the
subscribe,
chat,
like, and all that stuff too. I know that it helps me out when I do mine. So like, there's like 100 people here and only 34 likes on the YouTube stream. So like, go like that button before you go.
There you
Hit
go.
the like button, everyone. Thanks, Plunge. And
what's your Twitch again? Okay, I want to put it in
twitch.tv/Plungefather. So I'll be on there in probably like 9:15. So we'll hop on.
There you
Thank
go.
you. Much appreciated.
All right, everyone. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the weekly Top Shot Kickoff. So on behalf of Justin,
I'm glad to be a part of it.
Oh, it's great. It's going to be, maybe we'll make an NFT of this one day. The first ever edition of, I saw someone, what did someone say? Someone said we should have a weekly segment, Own the Plunge. Own the Plunge podcast. Own the Plunge podcast actually has a pretty nice ring to it.
I could be bought. I could be bought.
That's a spinoff.
At least 1 week's worth is worth $52 because that's what
I hear that the retainer fee is a baka.
Retainer.
All right,
exactly.
It's getting out of hand. It got out of hand, I think, 3 minutes into the stream. So, with that said, on behalf of Justin, on behalf of the Plunge Founder, and on behalf of producer Coop behind the scenes, I'm TJ Lasik. We will see you guys next time.